Back to Billboard's Hot 100, August 30th, 1980. Mr. DJ going to play, well, going to talk about the song by the runner-up to Funky Town by Lips Inc. Lips Inc. Rocket at number 90, down from 64 the previous week. It peaked at number 64. It was on Billboard's Hot 100 for 7 weeks back in the summer of 1980. A great dance record by Lips Inc. Their biggest hit was Funky Town. Funky Town was one of the best disco records that ever came out, coming at a time when disco music was imploding in wake of its peak in 1979, but in the spring of 1980, the backlash had overwhelmed disco music, just kind of sweeping it off the top 40 charts. But Funky Town, number one in 28 countries around the world. Stephen Greenberg formed this band back in the late 70s, and this was for Casablanca Records. Stephen Greenberg had played in several bands and was looking for a record deal. He came out with this disco track called Rocket, 1978, 1979, local hit, and Casablanca Records took an interest, and they asked Stephen Greenberg, "Hey, can you produce a full-length album?" Stephen Greenberg pulled together a group of session musicians and a lead singer. Her name was Cynthia Johnson, formed Lips Inc. And they released an album called Mouth to Mouth. Funky Town detonated in the spring of 1980. It was huge. I remember when I first heard that song, boy, that was a jam and a half. Cynthia Johnson deserves a mention. She's a good saxophone player. She was Miss Black Minnesota, former Miss Black Minnesota back in 1976, beauty pageant. And she became a member of a group in Minneapolis called Flight Time. Flight Time, saxophone player for Flight Time. Flight Time evolved into The Time by 1981 when Prince took over the group, brought in Morris Day and Jesse Johnson, but that was much later in 1981, 82. We're in 1980 right now. Cynthia Johnson, lead singer of Lips Inc., delivering those soulful passion and Funky Town and doing it with Rocket as well. And just looking over my notes here, see if there's anything else that I missed. The interesting thing about Lip Sync is one of the interesting things about Lip Sync, they sound European. They sound like a classic European dance outfit, but they're from America. Yes, my friends, this is an American-made band, made right here in the USA. USA, USA. From Minneapolis, Minnesota. Lip Sync. Now, the interesting thing about Rocket is, I've already mentioned it, Rocket was actually the first single that Lip Sync had put out. It was a disco hit, top 20 disco hit in 1979. But in the wake, the massive hit of Funky Town, they re-released Rocket, but only got as high as number 64. Not nearly as commercial. This is really more of a dance record. This is a clubbing record. This is not a top 40 hit where you just sit down and listen to, oh man, that's a great record, man. Got a great hook, sounds commercial. Now, this is something that you dance to, Rocket. This is straight club. Rocket at number 90 on Billboard's Hot 100. Let me double check and make sure I got that right. Number 90, Billboard's Hot 100 of August 30th, 1980.